I'm headed to car event number 2 today. This was also kind of an impromptu thing. We came upon Coker Tire is having their grand reopening today, and they have free admission to the museum. So I'm gonna go in there and we'll check out some cool stuff in there. Probably the wildest thing that you're gonna see in this video. Not exactly sure what this is, except that it's a art car, and I think it falls in the category of just because you can doesn't mean you should department. But I have to say, it is different. Not sure what it started out life as. I think it's a Toyota. I imagine they went through a lot of hot glue or epoxy or something, gluing all that stuff on there. I'd just be curious to know how much it weighs. This is one tasty 1932 Ford Vicky right here. Gorgeous black, tan leather interior, wood grain steering wheel, polished torque thrust wheels. Just beautiful, timeless design on these cars. I love these Volkswagen vans, and they are hugely popular with Volkswagen guys. Just a really good driver here. Looks like it's been clear coated over the original patina. Very straight example right there. Ain't no slacking when you're Cadillacing. Beautiful 59 Caddy right here, convertible. I'd love to take that for a drive. These things are huge. Probably not a car I'd ever own, but I sure do love looking at them. And there's those iconic Cadillac bullet tail lights. Love those. A lot of those got incorporated in hot rods of all kinds. And there is the famous Honest Charlie's speed shop there. Killer Volkswagen here. I'd love to own one of these someday. I like that little detail right there, and also on the hinges right there. Killer little car. Oh, I like those Riddler wheels on this car. That's a good choice of wheel for this car. Let's go into the Coker Museum. All kinds of hardware hanging on the walls. Like that Model A grill shell they're using for a picture frame. They got all kinds of vintage speed parts in the display cases here. This is an interesting little artifact. That's a seatbelt from World War II era aircraft. commonly used in early hot rods. There's a little V860. Lots of early Honest Charlie's knickknacks in there. There's an interesting cutaway of a small block Chevy so that you can see all the internal parts in it. There's the man himself, Honest Charlie. There's another big photo of the founder. Honest Charlie's is one of the 3 oldest speed shops in the country. So here we are entering the museum, and they've got engines on display everywhere, like this right here. This is the truck that was used in the TV show, if you remember that from a few years ago. They had a pilot TV show. It's called Backroads Gold, where Corky Coker himself toured around looking for old cars and trucks in barns and wherever he could find them. This is an awesome old building. I love these old buildings in downtown Chattanooga with all the exposed bricks and beams and stuff on the inside. Porcelain signs everywhere in here. This is one of the workshops here for the wheel shops, where they make wooden wheels and parts for the early cars. And there's some of their work right here, that where they've made the wooden spokes. And right there on the table, you can see a couple of the bands for the wheels. And here we are in the main part of the museum. I always love coming in here. It's an awesome old warehouse, exposed beams everywhere. And motorcycles and motorcycles and motorcycles, all stacked up here 3 high, all the way to the other wall there. Early Harleys and Indians and Excelsiors. If you don't even like cars, this would be a great place to come just to look at the bikes. I always love these old board track racers. Here is an Excelsior engine in the original crate. Now, how rare is that? up there to the top, and there's an old Cushman. I'll spin you around here and tour around some of the cars. It's a lot of very rare stuff in here. Here's a 1918 Mercer. A 1910 Nyberg. Have you ever seen one? Made right here in Chattanooga. Here's a Simplex. 1908. Two-stroke. 4-cylinder, 50 horsepower. This was an early race car. Here's a 1910 Overland. Again, an early race car. Here's a 1913 National. Very, very rare, obscure stuff in here. Interesting little tidbit. This one is a right-hand drive. This was during the era in cars where they were still kind of figuring out. Everybody wasn't on the same page on car design. You know, some of them's left-hand drive, some of them were right-hand drive. Over here we got the Honest Charlie's Rat Rod pickup. Started out in life as a 35 or 36 cab. A Ferrari and a slew of MGs over here. And there's a whole rack of Indian motorcycles over here. All the way down here on the end, we've got a Jaguar and a Mini. There's a Bugatti and a 1931 Morgan, which the engine hung out on the front on these cars, and they were only 3 wheels. Back there's a little Austin Bantam. Here's a Chattanooga whiskey truck. This was a 1913 white truck. Here's a 1925 American LaFrance. Several trucks in here. Yeah. Here's a couple of buses. There's another white and a Federal truck, 1921 Fast Express truck. I imagine that wouldn't be too fast by today's standards. Over here we got a whole row of American-made 50s and 60s cars. This is essentially Corky Coker's personal collection. They sold Coker Tire a couple of 2 or 3 years ago, and he retains this collection. This car, I think, was a Street Rodder tour car back in about 2012, 2013. Beautiful shoebox Ford custom. Awesome car. Fringed headlights, a lot of 50s custom details on it. It's got the spider caps on the wheels and the wide white walls. Lowered slightly in the back. It's got 50 style pinstriping on it. Beautiful car. Here's a Packard, 1936 Ford over here. And this is a Phaeton, which means it's a 4-door convertible. And over here's some very obscure, rare stuff. Here's a Pierce. This is one of my favorite things in the museum right here, 1925 Frontenac. And right here tells a little bit about the history. There's the Kenny Larson Special. Here's a 1919 Franklin. This was an air-cooled car, 5-passenger sedan. Look at this early attempt at aerodynamics on the V-shaped windshield right there. Very interesting. Here's a 1915 Crane Simplex. Here's a 1916 National 12-cylinder touring car. 1913 American Underslung. And what that means, what that's referring to, underslung, is the frame is actually underneath the axle and the springs. Yeah. Here's a 1914 Mitchell 6-cylinder 5-passenger touring car. A 1917 Winton. I don't know that I've even ever heard of a Winton automobile. And here is an auto car, 1912 auto car. Some very, very rare, unusual stuff in here. And stuff that you'll likely never see again. Up in the rafters, they've got a couple of biplanes hanging up there. Here's a vintage Firestone sign, a Buick sign. There's signs hanging all over the place in here. And I think way over there on the other end, those two Ford signs, I think, if I'm not mistaken, those were brought here by American Pickers. If you watch that show. Love this awesome Coke box here that's been converted into a couch. I've got one of those actually sitting in the garage, and I may need to do something like that with it. Like I said, there's lots of very obscure stuff in here. This is a British car. I'm not exactly sure on this one. I'm going to have to do a little research on this one. But check out that supercharger hanging out front here. And the carburetors. It's got side draft carburetors here on the side. And look at those friction shocks. Another interesting detail on the brakes. They're air cooled. Check out those vents right there. Very technologically advanced for its time. Lucas headlights. This is a Bentley, but I'm not sure what year. And I'm not sure if this was used for racing or what its heritage is. I'm going to have to do a little research on that. Here's a 1912 Nyberg. A lot of obscure brands I've never even heard of, and probably most people haven't. A Lozier, never heard of it. This car here they built a few years ago, and this has got a Brookville Roadster body on it. This is all built out of reproduction parts, but it has a vintage flathead engine in it. So this entire body is left in bare steel so that you can see the quality of the Brookville Roadster body. Here's a Scout, and here's a 53 Ford F-100s. Some kind of common cars and some very unusual, rare stuff in here. There's a 1914 Diamond T. Looks like back there on the back there's a race car loaded up back there. It's not just cars and trucks in this museum. There's all kinds of interesting artifacts in here. This appears to be, this is a bar that's made out of some type of antique. Looks like these are molds for a casting operation of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but they're very old, it looks like. And they've used that to build a bar out of here, or a table, whatever they're using it for. This is one of my favorite things here. This is a Michelin air compressor. These were sold and distributed to service shops across the country, and they used them to wheel out to your car to air up the tires with. And here is the Michelin Man. This is my favorite bike here. I picked it out last time I was here. This is a 1928 Harley Davidson Pea Shooter board track racer. I love the slender, nimble, athletic look of those old board track bikes. Here's a 1914 Excelsior in unrestored as found condition. And next to it is a 1915 fully restored Excelsior. And another 1914 restored Excelsior.
Right there, you can see where it's at. Because they ain't no slop right here.
No, there ain't no slop there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a wild ride.
That'd be wild.
There are so many cool details and things around here. Look at this old jack right here. It's got the ratchet mechanism back here in the back, all mechanical, no hydraulics. All right, here's another one over here. Just cool stuff all over the place. Worth every penny of the $10 admission. If you're in the Chattanooga area, you've got to check out this place.
That's what we want to do.
Boxcar.
Yes.
Over here's one of the shops where they restore these early cars. And this is a 1934 Ford. This is Corky's everyday driver, he told me. I love that truck. The last time I was here, they were unloading this 1915 Simplex. It's a very rare car. Here's an interesting little tidbit right here. The Moon Pie sign up there hanging on the wall. If you've ever had a moon pie, they originated right here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This building itself is remarkable. Check out this Nyberg Motor Works gantry crane right here. The rails on the side run the whole length of the building, and the gantry travels back and forth on those rails. You can literally snatch up anything in this entire room and set it anywhere that you need it. I have no doubt you could pick up that tow motor right there and set it down anywhere in this room with that giant gantry crane. Over here on this wall over here, we got a plethora of flatheads and other types of early engines sitting around just waiting to go into a vehicle. just cool stuff everywhere you look in this museum. If you're in the Chattanooga area, you really got to check this place out. And until next time, y'all get out there and build something.